be the first time ever
Yes.
that two teams that share the same spring training facility have ever met in the World Series.
Mm-hmm.
So think
Wow.
about that over the weekend. Yeah, there's a little while for you, so do your homework, and then you can bring
Oh
out
yeah.
that teaser and make it a reality Tuesday night. But
Oh yeah,
meanwhile,
for sure.
all
Yes.
right, well, listen, Damon, send my best to Uncle Gene and Aaliyah, and
Thank you.
we'll pick this
I
up
will.
next week. So thanks for being on the Sports Exchange, buddy. Appreciate you very much.
Anytime. Thank you. Thank you, Scoop.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lewis.
Have a good night,
guys.
Damon.
Keep up
Take
the
it
good work,
easy.
Damon.
Oh, I will. I will.
Oh, you
All right.
appreciate it.
Have
All
a
right.
good night.
You
Take
too.
it easy.
Thanks.
Yeah. Bye.
So, what do you want to add to it?
I mean, we're talking Astros possibly in the World Series. They're losing right now, entering the third inning, 1-0. Greinke, the narrative of Zach Greinke struggling in the playoffs continues. 4.6 ERA, I believe, and almost 90 postseason innings. So, I mean, I think the coolest thing about this year I'm noticing more than anything is just narratives further developing in football and basketball, baseball, football. We have Kyle Allen rising to the stages of possibly the next heir to Cam Newton. We have Patrick Mahomes' ankle carrying on the status of Dan Quinn. Vince Carter is drinking from the fountain of youth, it seems like. Ricky Henderson and him playing for the same number of teams. These are all just things that it's fun to keep track of and make note of. Also fun to know, considering we're doing this in Coral Springs, Florida. Vince Carter, a native of Daytona Beach, so another local kid in our area. Well, not a kid at this point. The guy's possibly old enough to be a grandfather.
No, that's true. There's no question about that. So, yeah, I don't know. Again, storylines, Lewis, as we both know, tend to play themselves out. You being a new guy in the media, you'll find out as time goes on and you develop and you see a lot more. Storylines are storylines as to what they really are. And I love how they sometimes play out, whether we realize they are by themselves. I mean, I don't want to get into a long drawn out because Mel Farr Jr. Will be coming on next. And then just to let you know the rest of the lineup, folks, Tom Shanahan is expected to come on at 9:30, and Xavier McKnight will be our closer. But when we talk about different scenarios, we should point out at 30 years ago today, the World Series earthquake took place between the Oakland A's and the San Francisco Giants on this very day 30 years ago. That series, which is known as the Earthquake Series, took place in Rock Candlestick Park, and the A's ended up winning that series 4-0. So,
and then they lost the next year to Cincinnati Reds and Lou Piniella.
Right. Well, true, but I'm talking about this
I
date 30 years ago.
You know me throwing numbers out there.
No, I'm not worried about that. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. But so but again, when Kirk Gibson hit that monumental home run, everybody associated it with the natural Robert Redford, ironically in Hollywood. So when you look at all the logistics about how storylines play out, and that's really where I'm going with this, about how storylines go out, things are what they are.
And that's where we make a name for ourselves, is we kind of come up with those kind of things, right? Right. Hollywood writes the script, and then we kind of just do our part in kind of adding to it and applying it to the real life of sports, which is kind of funny.
Well, what are we supposed to do? We're storytellers and information givers.
We're storytellers and information givers.
Yeah, that's how it's always been.
We're like phone books and Lewis Carroll all wrapped in one.
Yeah, you'd like to think that's the case.
Yeah.
But people listen to us not only to be entertained, but
they be informed.
Informed.
And sports informed, and that's the beauty of sports writing. That's what I told guys in the past. Sports wouldn't have the reputation they do if it weren't for people like us. We're not going to take all the credit for it because obviously it's the play on the field, but the people who report on it, like you and me and hundreds of thousands of other people, are what really give the public their discourse and help formulate and shape their opinions.
Well, as time goes on, and I think you got a taste of it last Saturday with the FAU Middle Tennessee State, you'll understand it. Sometimes I can tell you many times that I've written stories, and all of a sudden one play happened, I had to redo it all over again. You haven't had to do that yet.
No.
No, there'll be a time, believe me, when you will, and all that genius and knowledge you think you have is going to go down the drain when you understand that you have to redo it all over.
Yeah, that'd be a late night, right? Hopefully.
Well, I've had a lot of those. Not. Yeah, but that's true. That's how the narratives generally tend to play out. Is you do have the late night situation that all of a sudden now you see it, now you don't, but you have to adjust. But you have more information, you have more tools provided than many of us old guys had, through the years. And we had media guides, we had press releases, but we didn't have our computers were used to go ahead and send things. I can tell you many times where we're waiting for Mel Farr to come on the program. When I worked for the Tampa Tribune, I had a phone line over at Kissimmee, Florida that didn't work, and luckily I had a good desk editor where I had to dictate 2 stories on the phone. Is what I had to do when the lines went down, where they used to have those rotary phones that you stick them in the cup. Oh, that's beyond what you're even capable of knowing. So with that said, we want to welcome Mel Farr to the program. Well, Mel, thank you very much for being back on the Sports Exchange. Glad to have you with us. You're with Louis Adio Weiss.
Thanks for having me. How's it going?
You're welcome. How was your workout this morning, Mel?
It was tough.
It was.
Like it's supposed to be, yeah.
Yeah. Never seen a workout that ever wasn't easy, and every time I tried to do it, I always used to get hurt, and I need to hire a personal trainer to keep me from self-destructing myself. So.
That's what I do.
Hey, listen.
Take so much weight off of me.
I really can appreciate that. Hey, listen, you know what? I'm looking forward to coming up there and seeing you. I know I looked at my itinerary. It looks like we're going to have a breakfast date probably on December the 9th. What do you think of that?
Sounds good. Look forward to it.
Yeah, me too. We're going to have to find us a hotel, though, a little bit more north of I-75 so I can get around that Atlanta rat race. So, I hope you don't mind traveling up SunTrust Parkway.
No, not at all. No, man, that's right in my neighborhood.
Oh, good. That's even better. Okay, good. We'll have time to work that out. Well, let's start off with Brock Osweiler. Here's a guy that's a very smart businessman, 7 years, $41 million. Okay. Proved that he was a pretty good businessman. What do you think about Brock?
I was surprised with some of the quarterback play with some of the teams that are out there right now. You know, with Miami, struggling at the quarterback position, Washington with their troubles at the quarterback position. I was really surprised for a guy 28 years old to decide to hang it up. I was very surprised when I heard about that. It looked like he had a promising career going when he took over for Peyton Manning and went 5-2.
Right.
That first year, but then signed that big contract. But somehow or another, the wheels fell off. I don't know what happened.
Yeah, Lewis has a question for you.
Mel, I was looking at this. We know Winston had a horrible game in London with the 5 interceptions. It's the 4th time in his career he's thrown at least 4 picks in a game. Their backup, Ryan Griffin, has been in the league 7 years, Mel and Scott, and he's never taken a snap in an actual game. Don't you think he could have even been an option for them as well?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of places he could go. That he should have been an option for, or somebody should have looked at. I mean, he checks off a lot of boxes. You look at his size. He's got the prototypical size, probably a little bit taller than most quarterbacks, but he's got great size. He's got a good arm, and he's got experience. The guy's got a Super Bowl ring as well, and he was an integral part of that Denver Broncos team. Like I said, he's 5-7 when he started for Peyton Manning. When Peyton Manning was injured. And he was playing very, very well. So I was really surprised when I saw that this morning.
Okay. All right, let's go on to the next thing that you were passionate about talking about, the officiating in the Detroit Lions, Green Bay Packers. Trey Flowers got those unfortunate penalties. I know that you, obviously, and I have ties to Metro Detroit, and your dad, of course, played there. Well, that was bad. Why don't you give us your opinion on what took place at Lambeau Field that shouldn't have taken place?
Yeah, the one penalty I really have a problem with is the targeting penalty, because I don't know what that guy was supposed to do. He has every right to the ball, just like the receiver has the right to the ball. And he was trying to make a play on the ball. As he's trying to make a play on the ball, his helmet inadvertently hits the receiver's helmet. I thought that was a bad call. Now, when you look at the one call on Trey Flowers, my mom called me. She was all upset about that. She said, "How could the ref not see that?" I said, "Mom, do me a favor. Go on the field one day and watch one play from the field and tell me what you see."
Right.
The game moves so fast.
Right.
And the officials, and I know the game slows down for the officials just like it does for the players because you've seen it so much. But he's watching 5 offensive linemen, 3 or 4 or 5 guys rushing the passer. And when he sees the head go back like that, that's all he's seeing is the head goes back. He's assuming that somebody's hand must be in that face mask causing that head to go back. Now, the difference between getting a guy on the collar of his shoulder pads and the face mask, there's not that much room. There's not that much difference. So I can understand why he made the call. I wasn't up in arms about that. He doesn't have the benefit of instant replay or slow motion. So I understand that. But the real problem with Detroit was in that game, the officials made some bad calls. They also hurt themselves by not scoring touchdowns. One more touchdown, they would have won the game, as opposed to a field goal.
Right.
And the defense did an excellent job creating turnovers, getting them good field position where they should have been able to score touchdowns.
Right.
So there are some problems with the officiating without question. The one call, like I said, on Trey Flowers, I can understand that. The targeting call, I had a real problem with. But the real problem, the big problem to me, is they didn't take advantage of the opportunities that they had in the red zone.
Good point. So first of all, you're not going to win many games kicking 5 field goals. Number one. Number two, okay, the drop that T.J. Hawkinson had in the end zone was the difference in that ball game when you talk about numerically speaking. And we're looking at 23-22. We'll do the math. And you have a 4-point differential if he goes ahead and the tight end makes a catch. So you're really right on target there. But it's still unfortunate, though, that despite all the fact that we're still seeing a lot of bad calls regardless. And one would think we're trying to clean it up, but it doesn't seem like it's getting any better, though. That's the problem I have.
Yeah, there have been a lot of bad calls. But there also, there's been a lot of good calls, too. If you look at it, sometimes when those guys make those catches, make those receptions right on the before they go out of bounds and get 2 feet in bounds, and somehow or another those officials are able to get those calls right. But, I don't know what they need to do, whether you scrap replay altogether and just say the heck with replay, or you have an opportunity to challenge more plays. Because there is, there's too many penalties right now. And penalties, these penalties here, the problem with the penalties is they cost people games that eventually are going to cost people jobs. Coaches keep their jobs based on their win-loss record.
True.
And these games are causing teams to lose, and that's going to cost people jobs. And that's really the sad part about it. And the bad part about it is that eventually it could cost somebody their job. Now, I don't think anybody from Detroit or Green Bay is in jeopardy of losing their job, but there's other coaches, man. Games are hard to win. NFL football games are very difficult to win.
Right.
I mean, you're not playing against the Washington Generals over there. These guys are being coached up. They're getting a paycheck every Monday, just like you're getting a paycheck. Their coaches are getting paychecks. So wins are very, very difficult to come by, and the margins are very slim.
Good point. All right, well, let's go ahead and shift from the Lions and the Packers to a town you're all too familiar with, and that's Los Angeles, where Jalen Ramsey was shipped to the Rams. Boy, I'll tell you one thing, though. Jacksonville got a good return, though, didn't they? 2 first-round picks, as well as a 4th-round pick as well. The haul for the Jags is pretty good. So it's a 2-part question. First of all, how does Jalen Ramsey fit in with the Rams?
Well, I think he fits in anywhere.
Okay.
He's a tremendous talent. He's big. He's physical. He's fast. I think he just wanted to get out of Jacksonville. I think we talked about this before.
Right.
I don't think Jacksonville was interested in paying him any money.
Right.
Well, the owner was, but I don't think Tom Coughlin wanted to pay him any money.
Right.
So I think it's a good trade for the Rams, and obviously it's an excellent trade for Jacksonville because you get 3 picks.
Right.
2 first-rounders and a 3rd or a 4th rounder, I think.
Well, it is a 4th. No, you're right. Okay, and Tom Coughlin got what he wanted. His goal was to get 2 first-round picks, and then he got the other pick to go along with it. So it sounds like the Rams were a desperate team, is what they were, to be able to give up that haul. And Jacksonville, they look brilliant for making the move, trying to get rid of a disgruntled player with that type of return. And I still think that the Jaguars can still compete the rest of the year, too. So I really do. I don't think that, because you got to remember the last 3 games they haven't played had Ramsey in the lineup. So,
Right.
So
they're not fleecing the roster like Miami.
Right. No, nobody's depleting their roster like Miami. Seriously, no. No, that's bad. But, yeah, I think so. You're right, Ramsey could fit in anywhere. And, again, the Rams, though, were a desperate team when they made that move. And I've heard a lot of people say that it was probably more for star power, that they're trying to get the bigger names out there. That's what they're trying to do. And Ramsey, I don't know how many bodies he puts in that spacious Coliseum, or who knows what they'll do with the new place. But, I guess if he's going to talk a lot, he's in the right place to do it, isn't he?
Yeah, there's no question about it. But, the things that put fans behinds in the seats are wins.
Right.
And they're getting Jalen Ramsey to help them win. No different